What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, before we get started with this week's episode of WWE's Biggest Issue, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close, and we are now 234 subs away from hitting 500 subs. And who knows, maybe we might hit 500 subs by the end of the year. Only time will tell. But as I have said in previous videos, if this channel does get to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box in its entirety on the channel that I got from my partners over at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. By checking... Excuse me. By checking them out, not only does this support them, it also supports the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. On the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes Black Dragon, a Piece of Exodia, Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed. The possibilities are out there. However, if this channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got from my partners over at Collector Store, on the hopes of potentially pull a collector's rare out of this set. But with that being said, if you guys want to see these boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue, maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topic videos, or maybe, just maybe, you guys want some premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, because more than 60% of you guys are watching the content, but you guys are not even subscribed. And to top it all off, we got to get more women to watch the content as well. So if you guys are watching the content, you like the content, and you want more of the content, but you guys have not subscribed as of yet, then make sure you guys do indeed subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which is basically this week's episode. But the question of the day is this: who do you think will step up to Tony D'Angelo and his newly won NXT North American title? Let me know down in the comments below. And that is exactly what we are going to be talking about for this week. Now, it's been about a week. Literally, it has been a whole week since Tony D'Angelo defeated Obafemi to become the new North American champion. And what's interesting about this is that Tony D had been chasing after the North American title for a long time. Actually, since he first got to NXT, he's been chasing after the North American title. And it's weird because ever since Tony D'Angelo got to NXT, there have been a few superstars who held that title and pretty much just made it what it is today. You know, obviously there's guys like Isaiah Swerve Scott, Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes. Who else can I think of? Wes Lee, Dirty Dom, Dragon Lee. They all, even also Obafemi, even he himself has held the NXT North American title, and he held it for a short while. That was until Obafemi obviously cashed in his breakout tournament contract to win said title. But since then, I mean, since that victory over Dragon Lee, Obafemi has had literally 11 title defenses, and he's only lost once, and that was obviously last week. Now, even though Obafemi is entitled to a rematch for said title, there's a long list of superstars who would be more than happy to challenge the Don for the NXT North American title. Obviously, guys like Andre Chase, Axiom, Bronco Nima, Brooks Jensen, Charlie Dempsey, Dante Chen, Duke Hudson, Eddie Thorpe, Adrian Sanofe, Ethan Page, Hank Walker, Javier Bernal, Javon Evans, Joe Coffey, Josh Briggs, Lexus King, let's see here, Lucian Price, Malik Blade, Mark Coffey, Miles Bourne, Nathan Fraser, Noam Dar. Obviously, Oba himself could obviously challenge again. Oral Mensa, Reg Holland, Riley Osborne, Sean Spears, even though Sean's been out with an injury the last, 3 months now, if I remember correctly. Tank Ledger, Tavion Heights. I would say Trig Williams again, but, he's the current NXT champion. So, I mean, there's Tariq Igwe, Tyson DuPont, Wesley, Wolfgang. There's even also superstars from Raw and SmackDown, and even also TNA that have been wanting to challenge for said title. You got guys like Moose over on TNA. You got guys like Joe Hendry, guys like Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy. Perhaps even also Trent Seven, who's been with TNA for a while. We could see him back in NXT, back in WWE for the first time in years. In fact, the last time we saw him in WWE was obviously part of NXT UK when he was in that tournament to crown the last ever NXT UK champion, which obviously was won by Tyler Bate. Funny, how funny is that, right? How funny is it that NXT UK started with Tyler Bate as champion, and it actually ended with Tyler Bate as champion. How wild is that? How wild is that, right? But I mean, think about it. You got a long list of guys. Even also, on Raw and SmackDown, you got guys like Carlito. You got guys like Baron Corbin, Braun Breaker, Santos Escobar if he wanted to. Rey Mysterio, maybe we could see him challenge, which is a very high possibility. I think there's just a long list of guys. Even Jimmy Uso. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, it's great to see Jimmy back in WWE, but obviously we know that both Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso have a lot of ass kissing to do. They've got a lot of ass kissing to do, and it ain't gonna be pretty. I can guarantee you that right now. But when you look at the NXT the NXT North American title, and you look at its rich history, the title dates back to when Adam Cole first became champion. He won the title on the weekend of WrestleMania 34, and he held the title for 132 days. Then of course you got Ricochet, who held the title for 161 days. You had Johnny Gargano, who held it for like a month, sadly. You had the Velveteen Dream, who had actually who's actually, I believe, the second longest reigning champion. Oh no, he's actually the third longest reigning North American champion in history of 209 days. Then of course Roderick Strong held the title for quite a while. Keith Lee held the title. Then Damian Priest, Leon Ruff, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Cameron Grimes I mentioned, Carmelo Hayes I mentioned, Solo Sikoa, funny enough. Wes Lee. In fact, right now, literally, Obafemi is the longest reigning champion of all time. Wes Lee is actually the second, and I believe the Velveteen Dream is the third. So those are some top tier champions that we had in NXT. And you look at the current roster now, I mean, it's just absolutely, it's absolutely wild, and even also, and as I mentioned, when you look at the roster for TNA, you got a long list of guys who honestly would definitely would love to challenge Tony D for said title. I mean, you got guys like Ace Austin. You got Top Dollar, or AJ Francis, if you will. You've got Moose, I mentioned. Crazy Steve, Eric Young, hadn't seen him in WWE in a long time. Frankie Kazarian, which would be pretty cool to see. It'd be cool to see him back in NXT. Hammerstone, I know we saw him go up against Obafemi and Tony D'Angelo a number of weeks ago. Maybe perhaps again, as I mentioned, Jeff Hardy, or maybe Joe Hendry, or perhaps even Jonathan Gresham. I'm literally looking at TNA's roster right now, and it's absolutely wild. I mean, you got guys like Josh Alexander, you got Connor from part of the Ascension. You got Matt Cardona, or Zack Ryder, if you will. Mike Santana, funny enough. Moose, I mentioned. PCO. You got Mustafa Ali, Rhino. You got a lot of great talent. There's a lot of great talent in TNA that would be more than honored to challenge the Don for said NXT title. But I think, honestly, looking at what has happened, if I had to pick three, I would have to say Zachary Wentz. In my honest opinion, I would have to say Zachary Wentz. Excuse me. Definitely Obafemi. Just only because he's obviously due for a rematch, and I would say Wolfgang. So Obafemi, obviously we know he is definitely due for a rematch for said North American title. And it's weird because Obafemi was, as we talked about, he was a very dominant champion. Probably one of the most dominant champions we've had since Roman Reigns, and even when Roman Reigns was WWE champion, he was dominant. He dominated with an iron fist. So, so just like Roman did on the main roster, Obafemi dominated with an iron fist in in NXT, and I think he would be a perfect candidate to challenge the Don for the North American title. And with Halloween Havoc coming up in a couple of weeks, obviously these matches have to come up, have to be brought up on the fly, and it ain't gonna be pretty. I can guarantee you that. It's probably gonna be, I wouldn't say the worst NXT PLE we've had all year, but I would say that this is going to be a bit of an interesting PLE, to say the very least. Wolfgang, on the other hand, ironically enough, I feel like Wolfgang has been slept on for far too long. Yes, he is a former tag team champion, not just in NXT but also on NXT UK. While it's true that yes, that may be the case, I feel like it's time for Wolfgang to branch out away from Gallus and perhaps focus on himself and go after the North American title. Now, as far as Zachary Wentz goes, what I find so interesting about what I find so interesting about Zachary Wentz is that he's one of the most versatile competitors that this industry has ever seen. And with his victory over his former MSK slash Rascals brother Wes Lee at No Mercy, and with the performance that he had on NXT in Chicago at in NXT in that street fight, I feel like obviously that rivalry is definitely due for one more match, and I feel like it doesn't really matter who wins and who loses in that rubber match. I feel like Zachary Wentz is definitely should definitely take that next step and become probably the first TNA star to become champion in NXT, and I don't see any other way than going after the North American title. Is it possible? 100%. It is 100% possible to see Zachary Wentz go after the title, but it's also even more possible to see Trey Miguel go after said title. Hell, for all we know, we could even see Tommy Dreamer show up as well, which is possible. But I think honestly, in my opinion, Obafemi, Wolfgang, Zachary Wentz are definitely owed opportunities at the title. But if I really had to pick one, as crazy as it sounds, I would have to say Wolfgang. I think with the fact that he's been slept on for far too long, and with the fact that he's been around the business for a very long time, I think the Coffee Brothers have been holding him back over the last over the last year, maybe the last year and a half, and I feel like they'll just weigh him down, if you will, and I think he needs to break away from Gallus and focus on himself and become North American champion. Again, is it possible? 100%, but we will have to wait and see as we do draw closer and closer to Halloween Havoc in Hershey, Pennsylvania. But with that being said, that will do it for this week's episode of WWE's Biggest Issue. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue in the future, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.